I'm Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all published by Simon & Schuster Saga Press. Today, I'm going to be reviewing one of my favorite series that I read over and over and over when I was a kid, and I still read every now and then as an adult because it is just really, really good. And that is Lloyd Alexander's The Chronicles of Prydain, consisting of 5 books. The Book of 3, The Black Cauldron, The Castle of Llyr, Taran Wanderer, and The High King. All fantastic books. All set in an alternate Welsh countryside. Now I'm wearing my Wales, I'm wearing my Aberystwyth Wales t-shirt right now because I got this in Aberystwyth, Wales. Not only that, but when I was in Aberystwyth, Wales, I snagged 5 little stones off of the seashore there. It's a coastal town. I snagged 5 little stones like this. This is one of them. This is one of the 5. Snagged it off there, so I brought some of Wales back to Utah with me. I love Wales. I love Welsh folklore. I had a blast in my rental car driving the Welsh countryside, just seeing castle after castle and ruin after ruin and magical forest after magical forest and tore down cathedral after tore down cathedral, just all these like Tintern Abbey and Ragsland Castle and Caernarfon Castle and Conway Castle and Harlech Castle. And as I was driving through Wales, through the mountains of Wales, you just stumble upon the coolest things. Like I stumbled upon in Trey Tower. There's a castle in Trey Tower, and I just drove through, and I was like, that's a cool looking old ruined castle. I'm going to stop. I just so happened to stop during their annual apple festival, and I got to taste all the best apples in Wales at the festival. It was a blast. I dig everything about Wales and Welsh folklore, and I'm telling you, Lloyd Alexander clearly does too, because these books are just full, jam-packed with Welsh folklore and mythology just to the brim. Not only that, but it's elegant. It's full of just elegant, nicely paced, and very, very witty writing. This is the closest you will get, I think, if you love Harry Potter and you want to get your kids something similar in tone to Harry Potter. The Chronicles of Prydain are for you. These were written in the 1960s. You know, the first book was written in 1964. The final book, he wrote one every year until 1968. They are great. After Tolkien came out in the 50s, really all we had back, well, I wasn't even alive then, but people read the Chronicles of Prydain next, and they were huge, huge books back in those days. The Black Cauldron won a Newbery Award, the best children's book in the world. The High King won the same award, best children's book in the world. You've probably even seen the Disney cartoon of the Black Cauldron. These books are crazy good, and they still stand up today as very, very good books for adults to read. They are. I loved everything about it. When I said it's full of witty writing, it is. I remember reading these as a kid. Here's the story of how I came across these. I grew up in Sevier County, Utah, middle of the desert, no bookstores, no nothing, and it was a big treat for us to drive up to the big city, Salt Lake City, and go to the shopping malls and the bookstores and record stores and stuff and buy things. And I remember one trip I took with my cousin, and we went into the bookstore, and I was going to get a fantasy series, and he was going to get a fantasy series. I picked out The Chronicles of Prydain. These are the 5 books I bought that day. I still have the original copies. They're only like $1.95 each. And look at the gorgeous covers that they have. They all have just gorgeous covers. They've since redone the covers, and they suck. The modern covers for these suck. You have to get these old covers. Anyway, me and my cousin pick out a series. I pick out The Chronicles of Prydain. He picks out Piers Anthony's Xanth series. I think I won in that bargain. I really do. No disrespect to Piers Anthony in the Xanth series and those that love it. But, oh my God, the Chronicles of Prydain are way not even comparable in more awesome. Just better. Just way better. So what is it about, other than, Welsh folklore and stuff? Well, let's go through book at a time. I will not give spoilers. I'll just give a mini plot point to each book and tell you why they're awesome. Why they're awesome is we've got two main characters. Taran, the pig keeper, that's all they call him, the pig keeper, Taran, and Princess Lly. And I'm telling you, when I was a kid, I actually had a crush on a fictional character in a book. And that was Princess Lly. She was this red-haired girl, and I instantly became just enamored with any red-haired girl that I ever saw because of Lly. Not only that, but I was also at the time watching the BBC Showtime version of Robin of Sherwood, which many of you will remember starred this gorgeous, beautiful, ethereal, red-haired actress named Judy Trott as Maid Marian. And so I was just like, Maid Marian, Princess Lly, cute little mouthy redheads. I was like Charlie Brown. It had a crush on the redhead around the corner. You know what I'm talking about? Charlie Brown's always had a crush on the little redhead. Never dared talk to her. That was me. With Princess Lly and Maid Marian from that TV show. Hey, a kid's got to have a crush. A little boy's got to have a crush. Mine were fictional characters. Lly and Taran, they are the heart and soul of this series. Their banter, the way they talk to each other, just their back and forth. Even though these are kind of set for kids from the age of 10 to 16, it's fantastic. It's wonderful. It's great. Loved it. Let's talk about the books one at a time. Let's start with book 1, the Book of 3. The Book of 3, it starts in Caer Dallban with Taran, the pig keeper. He lives with he's an orphan. He doesn't know his heritage, as many fantasies start out that way. He has a master named Cole, and Cole says, you are the assistant pig keeper. You have to watch the pig, Henwen. Henwen is a feisty pig, and Henwen escapes. And Taran goes off into the forest to chase her and find her, and that's when our adventure begins. Because Taran meets up with a lot of different characters out in the forest. He meets the Horned King. You can see the Horned King right there on the cover. He meets Prince Prydain. He runs into some of the Cauldron Born, which are sort of the bad boy orcs of the series. The Cauldron Born. And then he runs into some of the... what were they called? Akron, the Dark Queen, and Arwen, and the castle, the Spiral Castle. And there he runs into Princess Lly, and she's got the sword Dernwyn, the magical sword, and they go off onto adventure. They meet Fluter Flam the Baird and Gurgi, who is a little golem-like character straight out of Harry Potter. What was that guy's name in Harry Potter that was the big ears and the... You know what I'm talking about. The name will come to me in a bit. But it's just a magical little adventure they go on, and it's full of just Welsh folklore. Everything is named in Welsh. Everything reads like it's been written by a guy from Wales. It's just cool. The Black Cauldron. A brief little thing about the Black Cauldron. It's another quest to capture a magical cauldron. Prince Prydain is there again. The bad Cauldron Born are there. And then we get an Ilinwe and Dolly, who's kind of like one of the fair folk. I think they're kind of dwarfs, elves. And Gurgi, again, our little golem guy that's... he's not really a golem. He's like the little elf guys in the Harry Potter. What are they called? I can't remember. Dobby. He's like Dobby, but covered in twigs and horse hair and rat hair. and a lot of dirt. Man, I really need to script these videos out a little better. I don't script them at all. Anyway, you know what you get. If you've been watching so far, you know what you get with these videos. Unscripted, me just talking off the top of my head. I think that's the best way for me to do it. Sometimes I forget stuff in the middle, though. Bear with me. You know, The Black Cauldron is probably one of the better books of the series. Actually, they're all great books. I liked the first two a lot. The Book of Three, The Black Cauldron. The Black Cauldron has another character named Prince Llyr. He's kind of Taran's rival. They kind of don't get along. And then towards the end of the book, there's this heartbreaking sacrifice and redemption scene. Just great. Just absolutely great. Then the Castle of Llyr comes up third. You know, that's the one with the cat here on the cover. Castle of Llyr, Princess Elenwy is sent away to Castle Mona to train to be a better princess, because so far she's just been a kind of an adventurer, and she's not very ladylike, you know? And so they want to make her princessy. So they send her to Isle of Mona to learn under some people to be a princess. And when we get to the Isle of Mona, we meet Prince Rune, who's sort of this he's sort of this cheerful but incompetent sort of prince. And along with Princess Elenwy, you know, Taran accompanies her and Gurgi accompanies her. And again, they meet the Fluter Flam, the bard, and, you know, Prince Prydain. And there's a lot of mystery and intrigue in the Castle of Llyr once they get there. And then we go to Taran Wanderer, Book 4, which is kind of where things get sort of, I don't think the Castle of Llyr is quite as strong as 1 and 2. And then we get to Book 4, Taran Wanderer, where all the characters sort of disappear except for Taran, and he goes off on a soul-searching quest of his own. And it is a little bit more dark than the other books up to this point. He does not have Princess Elenwy to banter back and forth with and to sort of have a crush on, and she has a crush on him, and then he has a crush on her, and then, I mean, that's gone. All the funny stuff from Gurgi and Fluter Flam is no more. It's just Taran out in the Welsh wilderness by himself, running into some bad people and bad things as he sort of, it's a kind of a coming-of-age tale where he has to find himself by himself. And I liked it a lot just because it was darker in tone, and he had to go from a child to a man. That's basically what it is. It's the Taran Wanderer. It's that one right there. And then the High King, the final one. The final book, the High King, where Taran has sort of come of age. So has Princess Elenwy. When he's been gone, Princess Elenwy has sort of found herself too. And then we get to the final showdown between Arwen the Dark Lord and, or they call him the Death Lord, the Cauldron Born, and all the bad guys and all the good guys, sort of the high, and we get to find out who becomes the High King. And I will tell you, it is a great, super great ending to a 5-book series. Each book, these are only 200 pages each. You can sit and, like, I read 100 pages an hour. I can read these in 2 or 3 hours, and I just love it. You know, if I've got a free moment on a day and I can just bang one of these out and I'm thrust back into the Welsh countryside, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. The language is beautiful. And each book is, you know, touching. It's full of adventure. It's full of quests and magical creatures. It's everything you want in fantasy. It is like Lord of the Rings. Maybe just dialed down a little bit from PG-13 to, you know, maybe between G and PG. There's no real blood and guts. And the ending of the High King, you know, as Lloyd Alexander said, and I did write this down because I thought it was a good quote, so let me grab it here. I did write this down. You know, he said of his final book and his final scenes, he said, the characters had become like my own family. I wept at the end to see Taran confronted with such a brutally difficult decision. A final choice never ever offered to any of us in the real world. And yeah, you do. You feel like when this is over with, you feel like some of your favorite friends and people that you've ever hung out with have kind of gone away, and then you just have to reread the stories to get them back. Very, very good stuff. As a whole, maybe someday I will do a review of each book individually. For now, let's just review the entire series and give it a 9 out of 9 for the whole series. I think for me, if it had been more geared for adults, it would have reached that 10 out of 10. But it is a 9 out of 9 because it is a little bit for the middle grade. I'm middle-aged. Middle grade reader. The Chronicles of Prydain by Lloyd Alexander. And if you buy the set, go on eBay and find these old covers because they are the best. The new covers are absolute horse garbage. No offense to the dudes that put those together, but it is what it is. But these covers, the original covers they did in the 60s, are absolutely magical. 9 out of 9 for the whole series. The Chronicles of Prydain. Start with the Book of 3.